Testing.
Check.
We'll call this regular meeting of the Stanley City Council to order. Please note we have all council people here. Our city attorney is on phone, chief of police, our engineer, our auditor, and our P and Z gal. For the record, these meetings are recorded, so if you wish to address the council, please come to the podium and turn the little green button on. Also for council members, remember to turn your button on. With that, the first item on the agenda would be the minutes of the special meeting June 7th and the regular May 10th council meeting. Were there any corrections or additions?
Move to approve the minutes of the special meeting.
You want to do them both? Do both of them? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ty. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, for the planning and zoning, they had one applicant that canceled. So we'll skip that and move to the P and Z administrator report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So we did cancel our meeting last night. If you remember, last month we briefly talked about it was a mobile food permit. And they had said they were going to get all the stuff that they kind of needed finalized before last night's meeting. And unfortunately, they did not have that. And we did not feel comfortable having that meeting, doing a contingent upon health inspection and those types of things of approval. So that will be brought to you when everything is completed. So anyway, you guys have my list of building permits. Quite an array of different types of building permits. If anybody has any questions, be happy to answer.
Any questions on the building permits?
Move to approve the permits.
You want to include that mobile food permit?
I think that's the one you guys are holding off on though, isn't it?
Well, no. the
Special
one at
event,
the-
no. This
the
one's
one-
a special event for the 4th of July, the mini
I
donuts.
would include that one as well.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach.
Aye.
Ty.
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And just to let you guys know, I'm working on the lovely grass situation that we have in this town. There are 25 properties that I currently need to send additional letters to. I did some on Friday. You guys got those. But
Have you got a go-to person to do mowing if need be?
no,
Okay,
we're gonna have to figure that out. And by we, I mean me. I'll figure it out. And we'll get that taken care of just as soon as we can. So I apologize. There's some long grass in this town and I'm working on it, but the rain's not helping. So,
okay.
okay.
Any other questions for Amanda?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the status on the elevators?
The last time I talked to Nick with Rachel Contracting, he's the demo contractor, he said they were waiting for the state to lift the road restrictions.
Those are lifted.
That's what I am assuming. And every time I talk to him, I get a different reason. Is that a proper way to say that? They're out of state, so I don't have any way. And I'm afraid to push too hard because BNSF is voluntarily taking down that elevator. So I have just asked politely to be able to give you guys updates, but they're not really very forthcoming with any information. I know they've called in their one calls. Jean keeps doing the respots for them every, 21 days? But nothing has happened yet, so.
So how about Greenstone? What's happening there?
So everything that we discussed at last month's meeting, getting a letter to Greenstone and to Mr. Schmies, Jordan and I are still working on.
And
Didn't have a deadline.
Probably falls on my end of things. I ended up getting COVID at the beginning of the month. I was kind of knocked out for 2 weeks and got behind on stuff. I have a draft of the letter, but I'll keep coordinating with Amanda and get that out ASAP.
Okay,
And one more question, Mr. Mayor, the house on the corner over there, did we get a letter out to them?
Which corner?
the Schweitzer.
The Schmies one?
Is that?
Kitty corner from the old post office?
Yes.
No, ma'am, that's one of the letters that Jordan is going to be drafting up for us.
Okay. We need to move on this stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been hanging
Yes,
too
ma'am.
long.
Any other questions for Amanda?
Jordan, when do you think you'll have that letter out?
I will,
This is Chad. When do you think
well-
you'll have that letter out?
I'll have it out first of the next week
Okay,
for both of them.
all right, sounds good, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, the next item would be the Visitors Committee. I see George just walked in.
Good evening, council, Mr. Mayor. We had 2 apps after the pergola one was rescinded. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up here. Okay, our 2 apps are for the Rib Riot and for the Civil Center's summer shows. Civil Center asked for 1,500. They recommended approval. The Rib Riot, he did not have a price down. But as per his budget, they're approved 5,500 of the 8,550. Sorry, 5,550 of the 8,550.
I had a question for you on that one, George.
I'll try to
There-
answer. I wasn't.
No, there's an attachment where it looks like their budget for the event from 2021 came out to $8,550.
Right.
Are they not doing something, or did they cut back on something, or they just didn't have a budget prepared for the application?
I think they used last year's budget as this year's budget.
Okay,
On the notes I saw when he turned in the application originally to Alin, he did not write an amount because he said he doesn't like to ask for a specific amount. It's just whatever they feel like giving him.
so I know if you weren't there, it's hard to answer this one, but was there a reason the committee settled on 5,500, or?
The notes say,
I know the minutes just say that that's what was,
I don't think there was a lot of discussion because the meeting was called to order at 1:09 1:09 and closed by 1:17. So
it's just, I know it's a big, it fits exactly with why we have the visitors fund, so I want to make sure they've got everything they need to put that event on, so.
I think that's what we funded last year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they cut out the axe throwing for one time,
Okay.
and that was kind of expensive, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
I would make the motion to approve both applications.
Okay. The recommendations.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Linda. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty.
Aye.
Linda,
All right.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye on the, what was the second one again? Civil Center, and abstain on the fire department one.
Well, and on something like that, if you aren't
If it's not-
specifically making money yourself off of it, Chad, you don't have to abstain.
The problem I guess I have is that there's a portion of that money that comes back to the fire department.
Right,
And
but
being the
not
chief
to you
now-
personally.
No, not to me personally, but
Yeah.
I don't wanna
Okay,
any form of conflict of interest on my part.
That being said, do I need to rescind my motion the same?
Jordan, may I ask, just to clarify, maybe you can, if I'm correct or not, but if I remember correctly, as long as it's not financially benefiting them directly, they don't have to abstain from voting, correct?
That's correct. And the council could even, you know, if there is an issue where someone would feel that they do have a conflict, council could make a vote or vote on it, determine whether they believe the person could, you know, remain unbiased and allow them to vote as well. But if it's not a financial or personal gain, then there's no conflict.
okay. Okay. So we're good? Motion carried?
You're
All right.
good either way. Yeah.
Pardon?
You're good either way.
Yeah, good either way.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, George. Next up, Bros Engineering.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Excuse me. I'll first start off with talking about the capital improvements project. Just a quick update on the progress of it. They've installed the water and sewer along 3rd Street from 3rd Avenue up to Railroad Avenue. They're starting to take apart and put back together the road sections on 3rd Street from 4th down to 6th Avenue. They had their long weekend break off this last weekend, and so today was the start of their new 10-day shift. They're going to continue working on taking apart the streets, putting them back together, and doing some of the water and sewer utilities up by First Street, and then they're going to jump over to First Avenue. The mayor and I and Chad all had a conversation about some of the curb ramps in the project area. So I just wanted to kind of go over what we're doing there on the curb ramps. So I had a conversation with the landowner and was asking, do we absolutely have to do this? I guess my analogy would be no one absolutely has to do anything. You don't have to drive the speed limit, but there might be consequences if you go over the speed limit. So the Department of Justice and 28 CFR 35-151 says that state and local governments must follow ADA regulations on all newly constructed and altered facilities, which is what this project is doing. So
Can I interrupt you right there?
Go ahead, Chad.
You, as I stood there, you told them people that we did not need to do this. Those were your exact words.
Right. And if you remember, he asked me, do we need to do this? And I said, no, but, and he wouldn't let me finish. And so what I was trying to do was diffuse the situation so that we could talk about it at a council meeting. I don't think the conversation was going anywhere out there.
So essentially telling that person no was an adequate way to diffuse the situation, which right now makes it sound like you just blatantly lied to them.
Okay, so that's fine. Like I said, I was trying to explain to him why we did it, what we did. And he said, do we absolutely have to do this? And like I said, I tried saying no, but, and explained to it, but I kept getting cut off. So I just kind of sat there and let him talked to me and, I said, well, what do you want to do right now? We can just stop and we can talk about this at a council meeting. And I thought that's what we did.
Well, I would agree with that, but by telling them individuals no has one meeting. No, we don't need to do this. You just got done telling us in order to, and you stated some century code, that in order to be right, we have to do it. So again, as the question was asked in the field that day, what is it? Is it no or is it yes? We can't tell our taxpayers, and to be clear, so everybody understands, this does happen to be at my folks' house, so I'm not hiding anything. But we can't tell them one thing, come back here, tell us something else. Because, I mean, your integrity is right now 0 with me.
Okay.
What do I believe? And I
So,
hope everybody else feels the same way. If we're telling our taxpayer one thing and then we're coming back here and we're telling the council something else. Whether you were cut off or not, the answer to the question was no, we don't need to. It was given to a committee, and I'm gonna be almost verbatim here. It was given to a committee and they decided that we could go ahead with it. Those were the exact words. Am I not right?
Yeah, those were definitely said. We did talk about how, the committee decided that we were gonna do all the ramps. Right? That, yes, absolutely, that was said. And like I said, the question was asked to me, do we absolutely have to do this? And I said, no, but, and I got cut off. And so I didn't want to just keep arguing back and forth with any landowner or even, this isn't an argument, this is a conversation, but that's where I was at. I was trying to diffuse the situation. Nothing was getting accomplished. And I thought the best situation would be tell them to hold off for a moment and we'll talk about it at a council meeting.
so when we were talking that morning, you mentioned it was in the middle of a block or something?
Back middle of the lot, not quite, back how far they gotta cut.
No, but I mean, it's on the corner of the
It's on,
block.
the ramp is on the corner, but it's approximately 30 feet back to the east and 35 feet back to the north on that particular corner that they have to remove cement that is literally brand new, 2 years old.
So the decision was made by council here, I don't know how many months ago, to do these ramps.
Okay, so, and to clarify that, because I have visited with others, the description of that we got was at the corner.
Right. And that's
Do
what
not
everybody
disagree.
assumed.
Right, so if you assume that, would you not assume the square of the corner?
So is it because the slope is
It's the slope.
bad over there?
To get to the ADA, to be fair, to
yeah.
get to the 1%, that's where you have to go.
Yeah.
So I did a little survey of my own, and I went down 6th Avenue. And I'll guarantee you that there's a majority of them that are not in 1% slope. Am I not correct on that also? So the problem isn't so much that they don't want the corner there, correct? He's fine
Yeah.
with the scoop. I don't want 30 feet both directions in my yard tore up. And the brand new cement, the property owner has to pay for it.
So have they taken it out yet?
No,
we
he stopped it.
stopped them.
Donovan stopped the project so that we could talk about it tonight. So I mean, that end of it was professional. We were happy.
I would say he has credibility then.
So what happens if we go back just, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet like they do on most of them? Is it gonna be, the slope gonna be all wrong?
I mean, we went back to meet, so in general, so it's 2% cross slope is the letter of the law or whatever. So if you look up at the screen here, the TS with the circle that's up at the top when you come off the road, and you make a decision, do I go left, right, or straight? That's called your turning space. That space is supposed to be 2% everywhere. And now ADA has been evolving for years and years and years. And this is just where they're at right now. This is the guidance that the state and the federal government has been giving us. So up at the top where that TS is, that's supposed to be no more than 2% in every single direction. That R, which is considered your ramp, you have to have a turning space at the top and the bottom of your ramps. Turning space is 2%, no more. Your ramps, 2% cross slope and 8.3% running, longitudinal. And so you got to lower your curbs and your sidewalk to get to those slopes. And so now you're at the top of your turning space. So what the DOT and what the North Dakota DOT has given us guidance on is from that turning space, you go back 15 feet or to the next closest panel, because it doesn't make sense to cut a panel in half, just cut it at the joint in the sidewalk. And you try to get your 5% max running slope there. And if it's over, then that's as far as you go. Now, that law and that code that I referenced, there's maximum extent feasible to the structural ability of it. So like, for instance, you go down here on this corner, you got probably like a 4 or 5 foot from the curb up to the sidewalk. So we didn't put a 15-foot running sidewalk because you're going to be at 20, 30%, and that, that doesn't make sense either. So there is areas within the project, we did it to the max extent that we thought was feasible per the guidance that we've been given. And so there is areas that don't meet all those guidelines, but we definitely tried to meet all those guidelines everywhere where we could. So that's what we did. And like I said, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. There's, there's the letter of the law and like the application of it. So if there's a certain area or ramp or whatever where we need to take another look at it, we're willing to do that. We're, willing to solve whatever issue, problem that we have.
Because part of the other part of the problem is, in order to do that, then essentially it's going to be lower than what's currently in several yards up there, correct?
Like the curb?
Yeah, you said
Yeah,
it could be an inch higher.
might be a little bit
2 inches
higher,
lower,
yeah.
it could,
Yeah,
just
it's just varies
because
everywhere.
of how it lays out. Well, essentially, if you have to lower it 3 inches or 4 inches, then now you got to tear out your whole yard and re-landscape it.
Into the boulevard section.
Or even on the private side, because if you don't put your sidewalk like this, you lay your sidewalk flat. So if that lowers up against your current yard, then you have raised yard by however much you had to lower the sidewalk or tip the sidewalk to meet your grade that you're looking for. And along with that is the cost of it. These people, the city, we don't help people replace their sidewalk.
So, go ahead, Dave.
This project is based on ADA specifications.
Yeah, so there was the committee that it was decided to do the ramps and try to meet the ADA grades. So that's what we did. So the answer is yes.
From these regulations, then we're gonna have nothing but a slippery slope.
So can you clarify then what you told us that day, that there's federal funds involved in this, but they do not stipulate ADA?
Yeah, so the federal funds that this project has is water and sewer money from the EPA. And so what they're funding is the water and the sewer. You guys got a grant from the Bank of North Dakota to fund the street section of it.
So to clarify your question, Dave, no, the answer is no. There is no regulation with ADA that dictates our sidewalks, curbs and gutter.
So if I just add on that, years ago, I was on a project where there was federal money specifically for the sidewalks. And they actually came out and checked during construction, after construction, and if it didn't meet, and people, contractors had to tear stuff out and redo it. So this doesn't fall under that situation where I don't think they're gonna check, but that doesn't mean that the federal law doesn't still exist. And what I believe an engineer has to be concerned about is that if any time in the future, somebody wants to go after the city because it doesn't meet ADA, they're gonna go after the engineer too.
And I'm not gonna argue with.
So one of the
arguing
reasons,
what we've been told.
one of the reasons I guess I thought they'd be fine is if you're in a wheelchair or pushing a stroller or riding a bike, those ramps are way better than a curb.
Well, and don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
we're not saying that they're bad.
Yeah.
But when you look at all the ones around town that are less than 10 years old, they're not all ADA to the 2%, sorry, I said 1. The scoop is there, the wheelchair people, the grandma with the buggy, like you referred to the other day, they can all access those sidewalks. It's not that it's not there.
Well, we can,
And it is what it is. I mean, I just want to bring to light that when we go and look at these things, one, the onus is on us to figure out what exactly we're agreeing to or what we're approving. But two, I think part of that onus is on these engineering firms that we're using to explain it. They didn't explain that it was going to run back 20, 30 feet. They didn't explain that we don't need this according to the funding that we got. And then we tell the property owner something, and then we come back here and we tell the council something different.
so
That puts us in a bad spot to be able to.
there is
defend
grant money involved in them ramps,
Bank of North Dakota.
but it's grant money.
I don't think that's grant money that.
It's just a loan.
Yeah, a loan.
Okay. Okay. Well, we can put it in at a bigger slope and hope they don't check. And if they check, then we redo it 5 years
Well,
from
and then at
now.
that point, then that's part of the game that the landowner is gonna have to be okay with. Because if the federal government comes in and says, here's your letter, this isn't acceptable, then it is what it is. And along with that, the other portion of it is, I noticed Kurt Edwards beans were on that street, and you guys are having to cut aprons back, which I totally understand because of the road, the height of the road is gonna dictate where the apron into your driveway or into your garage goes. Kurt is looking to put in a brand new apron in front of his house. Was he informed not to do that until either the street is done or do it at the same time? Because if he were to go and put that in the next 10 days, you're gonna have to cut that out, right? So Kurt Edwards would be 2 houses to the south of that corner that we're standing on the west side of the street.
If I
I
may.
think that's, yeah, right.
Kurt came to Donovan a couple weeks ago, maybe even a month ago now, and asked about the driveway apron, knowing that the project was going on because he thought it would be an ideal time to do it.
That's
So
what I was
that's,
curious about.
that's
to
what
make
it's
sure
gonna
he
be.
knew.
So we're gonna go, we are doing the driveway apron, take out that section of the curb and the boulevard to match it up to the existing sidewalk. And then he will do a future driveway. It's just, you know, as well as I do, prices of cement right now are really high. So as long as we have that apron part done, then he's able to do the rest of it when the budget allows, so.
Yeah, I just didn't want to see him
There's,
get that put in and then
No.
out of the blue, we have to.
No,
take
it'll
it out.
be done correctly.
there's been a couple of, Kelly was the other one?
Kelly Whitmire. Mhm.
then
And his
that
project
guy
was done prior, but it had
But
been
he asked,
discussed
yeah.
and that, you know, it, wait.
Yeah, I think he left his apron.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
because we were gonna, yeah.
Right, and the other one is Scott Fields that you guys approved the variance to widen his 5 feet. But right now, those are the only ones that we have on the books approved. We have one more pending, but we haven't heard anything on it, so.
Well, there's 3 things we can do. We can do it the way it's engineered right now. We can fudge the slope and hope we don't get caught. Or we can make a motion to not do that curb and hope nobody ever turns us in for that. Because of right now, it says you guys have to comply with the ADA rules. That's putting your job in jeopardy too by signing off on it.
And this type of project, when you're redoing all your curbs, that's the type of project to do that stuff. And I get where Chad's coming from. The guy just put it in there 2-3 years ago or whatever it was. And now it's like, well, I just put that in there. Now it's going to get ripped up. I mean, I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but
I guess what I'd just ask is that every single one of you put yourself in them shoes. If you just put in $8,000 worth of concrete, are you okay with it being tore up 2 years later and then being specialed it back again?
The other thing we can do, I guess, is make an exception and pay 50% of that corner or something, the city, if that would help.
I think if we start deviating from the plan, we're gonna have people in here every month till this is done. And we need to stick with the plan. And we don't need to have bros drug across the coals every time somebody turns around.
Okay, any other comments?
I totally and completely understand where you're coming from. I think we get into a really murky situation when we're talking about, well, let's just hope we don't get caught. I don't like that at all. I don't have a good solution either at all. I don't think that it's definitely not ideal if it was put in 2 years ago, but I don't want to say, yeah, let's just hope nobody finds out either. I think that puts us in, I would not be okay with saying or doing that.
Okay.
and we can go back and double and triple check the grades at that intersection and maybe it's a panel less or, or something, but
The
I
other
also
question
don't-
I would have too, though, Donovan, is it says like the state guidance. I don't know where I saw it in there was like 15 feet or something like that. Is there someone we can talk to and say like, hey, we've got a unique situation. Can we make it 5 feet? Or, is there a way that we can get like a variance for this project for anybody who's in that situation or any chunks that are still in good shape?
I would have to look into that, but like I said, like not every state's the same and has their own, they all kind of do things a little bit different. I'm sure South Dakota does it a little bit different. Maybe they don't stipulate the 15 feet, maybe they go 20, maybe they have some other law rule that they set up. There's, the letter of the law and trying to meet the application, and there's the structural capability of meeting it. Maybe your guys' structural capability is only 10 feet.
I'd like to see like a double and a triple, just to, if there's any way that we can still be following what we are supposed to be doing, but we cannot have to rip everything out. If there's any, or if we can like apply for some kind of variance on the project, I don't know how it would work, but anything that we can possibly do since we're in this situation now.
Yeah, I can look into that and talk to some other people and see what they've done, other clients, see what their rules and laws, what they kind of follow. But I know that a lot of them are just going to follow whatever the state.
Okay.
So next, I guess, after that lengthy conversation, there was unforeseen work that we came across. There was a 6x6 or a 6x8 box kind of down by the Public Works building that was buried in the road. When they were putting in the water line, they discovered that. So that had to get removed to get the water line in. We got down there and kind of looked at it. The box was kind of bowing at the top and kind of rickety. So didn't take very, very long to do it. So we were just tracking like the hours and the equipment rates. Still kind of waiting on the equipment, make a model and year to kind of determine the cost on that.
So what was that for? What was it in there for?
If I had to guess, and Chad said that he played in that box when he was younger or whatever, but I'm guessing the road back there used to be more of like a highway, an elevated road rather than a rural section. And there
Yeah.
was that drainage structure
Probably.
down there, and they just filled it in whenever they were starting to fill in that area.
It was a big culvert that you could walk back to when you were a kid. That's still under there.
Yeah.
I thought they removed that.
I guess I,
Okay.
it was in there, I don't know where it is. And obviously you found it, so. it was-
Yeah. It was still there, yeah. So I guess the council action items I have is, the pay application for the Wagner's completed work. $254,000 approximately from May 7th to June 4th is when that, work was completed.
Move to approve the pay application.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jacob. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda, David,
Aye.
Chad.
All right,
Motion carried.
Thank you. So the next council action item for that CIP project is, our task order to do the construction engineering. If you remember last council meeting, we didn't want to give you the full thing because they hadn't even started yet, kind of worked out their schedule, see how things are looking. So this task order would get us through from, today, we still have hours left from last task order a little bit. And then through like December, so project completion. So that one's for roughly 574,000.
move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jacob. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Abstain.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
All right,
Motion carried.
Thank you.
how are we sitting on the timeline with they asked for 3 weeks, we gave them 2.
Give them two. I think, when I was looking at the days that they worked it was like 15% or something like that has passed. I think they were right at like cost wise, 15% completed for the project. They still think that they're gonna get it done. Yeah.
What's your gut?
My gut is I'd really like for them to get it done early, but it's probably gonna be, it'll be right against the limit there, the end of October.
So will they wait to pave till they're done with everything?
No, so once they get, Third Street, like all the way, ripped apart and put back together, they're gonna start putting that curb in there. And then as soon as they get the curb in there, they're gonna come in and lay the bottom lift of asphalt in there. And so he told me he's gonna do it in like 3 mobs of the paver. You're gonna come back 3 different times. And the last time they're gonna come in like top lift everything. So they really want to get the gravel covered because it rains and gets sloppy and I think that's better for the residents too, for everyone, so. But yeah, they're looking at like 3 or 4 mobilizations for the paving.
So in between paving lifts, like how much time lapses? Days, weeks?
I would say like between their paving mobilizations, I bet it happens like a month apart.
So is any I mean, because we know that there's gonna be people wanting to drive on that, and that first.
Oh,
month,
yeah,
is it
that-
Gonna hurt it? or-
No, yeah.
So have you been in contact with the property owner that needs the sewer bored in on Second Street. Steve Douglas,
Steve Douglas.
he's the one that his sewer runs down to the next house to the south. And he's got to go straight
Oh,
east now, but it needs to be bored because he's got
that retaining
a
wall.
big tree and a
Yeah.
retaining wall.
Which house is that?
It's
Well,
on Second Street.
you know where the old Mrs.
Oh, all right, I know where you're talking.
It's the middle house on that block. I think there's only 3 houses on that
Yeah.
side.
I have talked to him. That's been a while.
Because he's wondering, he's
Yeah.
hoping they can bore right up to
And
the
I
beside
gave
the
him,
house.
yeah, I gave him like a couple of different contractors in the area, like, you know, call these guys past your property line. But he did mention, like, I brought up, like, you got that retaining wall, how you gonna get underneath it? And I just kind of told him it'd be nice if you figured out like where you want it before we get there. 'Cause I don't want to put your sewer line over here and now you want it over there.
Well, he knows where he wants it on the south side of the house,
Okay.
halfway down, and they're gonna dig a hole there and then bore in from
Yeah.
the street. But does Wagner do that too, or does he have to get somebody
I'm
else?
guessing they would hire someone else to do that.
Well, if you could follow up on that, and I've got his number too.
Okay. All right, so the NDH Shared Path Project, CSI started that last day of May, I think they were in there. So they started stripping topsoil. They started their pipe work today. And they're gonna pave that path when they pave the Highway 2 shoulders out here on that concrete overlay. So that'll be October, I think is what they're looking at. The one thing that Curtis wanted me to make sure that I brought up was the sewer over there by the golf course, Prairie Rose is what they call it. That line had froze a couple of times in the past. And when we were doing the design, Curtis, you know, me and him kind of talked and we said, well, here's where he wanted us to like lay that insulation board to try to keep it from freezing. Curtis wasn't at the pre-con meeting. It was Gene. And then Gene kind of mentioned, well, I thought it was freezing somewhere else. So then he kind of told me to talk to Nick Gustafson to see what he thought. Nick thought it was freezing somewhere else. So I guess what I'm getting at is we didn't have insulation board for that whole stretch that everyone thinks that it's freezing at. We only had like 175 feet and it's, you know, in the area that Curtis thought where it was freezing. The city is 100% responsible for that cost of that because it's outside the right of way. It doesn't meet the scope of the funds. So that's like $10,620 work. And I guess because of all those conversations of it's freezing here, it's freezing there, I don't know if I'm 100% confident that if we do that work, that it's not going to freeze somewhere else and it's not going to fix your issue. So it's CSI was nice enough to say, we'll hold off on ordering that material until you can talk to your council and make a decision. Do you want to move forward with the work or not move forward with the work?
So many feet of it you gotta put in.
So there's 175 feet that we had insulated, called out, and that's on the screen here, I guess. So here's, I don't know, this is the first house. This is Highway 80. This is north looking this way. This is kind of that low spot right here where that big drainage runs by the golf course. So this is the plan view and this is the profile of the old plans. It says it's a 2-inch H2PE force main. So the problem is when those pumps kick off, anytime that there's a belly, gravity's going to pull your sewer back and that's where it's going to sit. So this was the biggest belly, but you know, we don't really know if there's a belly here or a belly there. because that line was bored in when they put that in there. And so like logically speaking, that's where a lot of the belly is. That's probably where the sewer's sitting when those pumps kick off. And that's why Curtis and I decided to put it in that location.
So do you believe that's 9 feet deep?
No. I think they called 7.5 feet, I think, cover. Yeah, so 11 to 4, that's 7, right?
Yeah, I was just looking at the edge.
Yeah, minimum 7.5 feet cover is what they were supposed to put that in at, but it all depends on how accurate they bored that.
If we're gonna do it, we need to do it now before they put a path over the top of it.
Well, the path won't be over the top, so.
Will it be close to it?
Yeah, so the path is kind of running right through here, and then it's gonna tuck towards Highway 8 a little bit, and then come around. So this part's not
Okay.
underneath the path.
Since there's no way to know where to stop,
Right.
you know, I mean, you'd have to do the whole thing, which would be 5 times as much.
And that's where the 10,000 comes in?
Yeah, so CSI quoted it at $10,000 to do that 175-foot stretch
And there's no guarantee that's where it's.
where it's freezing. I mean, everyone seems to have their own opinion of where it's froze in the past.
So all them houses up there, sewer flows east and then gets pumped back?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, gravity down to that lift station and then they force it up.
Any other comments?
I have just a quick question. Any part of that line go underneath where they're going to be putting in the path?
No.
Okay. So we could start
Well,
with,
I would, how the city marked it. So they don't have like a tracer line on that. So they're just going off of their maps.
So it's the best.
so there could
Yeah. So, I
be.
mean,
And you're saying
maybe.
it would end up being 5 times more if we did just the whole line?
Oh, yeah, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got a long ways further to go.
Dig it in. So it's right.
I don't think, I'm assuming the
There's
reason
no,
it's
yeah, the
enforcement is that
gravity.
Grids don't allow it to be. Don't quote me on the 5 times as much, I'm literally just eyeballing it off
I
the
gotcha.
thing right there.
Well, I mean, if we do this part of the project, it could potentially, you're just saying you're not 100% confident that that's for sure exactly where it's freezing.
I mean, that could be, yeah, that could be where it's starting and it's moving out. Or it could be starting somewhere else and moving into that.
Is it in a place that we can add cover to it?
No, not through that low
Not through
spot.
that low spot.
That would be one reason to insulate it there is because that's the low spot.
The low
and you
spot.
Can't dam it up there.
The other part is if you had to do the rest of it, you wouldn't interfere with anything because it goes down their backyards then from there to the lift station.
Yeah. So like I said, this is north, looking to the right. All these houses, gravity this way, and then it forces, once it reaches the last house, there's a force pump that pumps it up through until it hits this manhole, and that's gravity.
Okay. So it lifts it all the way from the east.
Yeah.
Halfway down the golf course, back up to Highway 8 and then
Yeah.
catches gravity at that corner.
Yep.
Okay, what do you guys want to do?
Trace every line that's buried.
I mean, we could start with this.
What's that?
We could start with this. I mean,
Okay.
10,000 is a lot, but if it ends up being enough to stop the issue, I don't know.
I think you're obligated to do the drainage ditch with it. Because if you can't lower it and you can't add fill to the top of it to insulate it, the only other option is insulation.
Need a motion for that?
Yep,
So move.
Second.
for this 177 feet.
Yes,
Okay,
that's a start.
Actually, that's in the bid already, watching.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was just, CSI was like, I'll hold off on ordering the material if you guys don't want to do it. So,
No, I think we need to.
Okay, it was a motion by David. Chad, did you second that?
I did.
Okay, any other discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
All right,
David,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Motion carried.
all right, thank you. Moving on, update on the Country Estates water main. So I submitted those plans a long time ago. The DEQ and the State Water Commission are not the same, so that those are two different entities. We have to get the plans approved by the DEQ to get it on to the application. I called the DEQ and just asked like, what's taking so long? It doesn't take this long. And they said, well, your guys' bid isn't until August. We have bigger fish to fry, basically. So I called the State Water Commission and told them that. And Lori said that we can just submit the plans as long as they're stamped, and just note that you sent your plans in for your permit, and they won't give it to you until later on. So we can still move forward, Lori said. So the next State Water Commission meeting is, or the August is what we're looking at. So to get on their August meeting, we have to have that application in by the 27th of this month. And what they prefer is prior to, like 7 to 10 days prior to that August meeting or any of their meetings, they would like to have the bids received and opened, because then you can look at it and see the price and they'll adjust it up or down, like your application, which is good because if the bid's coming a little bit higher, she just said that they'll adjust it up. Where if you open your bids after you're already locked into that max price, you'd have to go back and ask for more, and there's no guarantee, she said, that you're going to get that more. So just my kind of thoughts are, if you still wanted to look at that August meeting to determine if you're going to get the 60%, she said likely you are, would be having a bid opening on the 4th of August. Then you can submit that to the State Water Commission. They can adjust it up or down. You can award it at your August 9th meeting, contingent on the grant approval. And then on the 11th is that State Water Commission. And those commissioners vote on it right then and there, so you'll know if you got it or don't got it, or how much you got.
Need a motion on that?
I don't think so. I think we're all, the last meeting we were moving forward. So just an update on that, so.
Yeah, if there's a chance we get it in sooner like that and qualify for more because bids came in higher than what
Yeah,
we expected.
it makes,
That's-
yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. So that's our goal right now. Is that opening it the August 4th, getting it on the August 11th State Water Commission meeting. So we'll get that application submitted here this week or next week. That's all I have. I guess if anyone has any questions at this time for anything else.
You gotta come up to the mic, Marge. I can't hear very good.
Is there any timeline when you know when the Third Avenue will be done?
Third Avenue.
Right down here.
I think that's one of the last ones. So they're focusing on streets. Streets are running north and south. So they're gonna do Third Street and if they gotta go a block over, they'll hit that block over. So they might get that Third Avenue block. Then they're gonna go down to First Street, go up one block, go over a block to Second, and then work up and out on Second. So if I had to guess, and that's just a pure guess, they control their own schedule. August.
Okay, see, I brought this up to the council 20-some years ago, and they said they were gonna add it into the next project. Okay, 11 years ago, it was in the proposal that they were working on then, and it hasn't been done. Okay, now in the next, we come up and the neighbor next to me, they had asked about connecting east, they're next to Steve Douglas's. And at that time, they said, no, you couldn't do that. And are they gonna have a problem now when they put the street? See, that was one of the original houses next door when they built the city. Okay, when they cut down the road to put in the street, they cut off where the sewer line's only about so far below the surface. So every time every time the frost comes in and out, I have to run extra water in order to keep the sewer and water lines open. Except if it stays cold, then I lose my sewer and water. I've gone 6 weeks with no water or sewer coming in.
And that's all being replaced, right? Sewer and water.
Are they gonna have a problem when they come down so they don't come up with their digger and think the pipe's 6 feet under and catch it and bring it back up and rip it out?
I think I remember you are getting water and sewer, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's gonna get replaced. Are you asking about your service? They'll find your service because they'll have to tie it into the main.
Mhm. But I mean, just so that when they come in there thinking that it's 6 feet down, they don't come in with their digger
Sure.
and grab a hold of it. Because I mean, it's gonna go down more than 2 feet.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. I don't know exactly where you live, but I think I remember that.
Right across from her place. Yeah, next door to Steve Douglas. See, Steve Douglas wants to go to the east, and his house is next
Okay.
to me. See, those two houses were connected, so anytime the people were living there would have problems, it'd run into the sewer the next, because it was two
Yeah,
brothers
right.
or something owned the property when they first started out, so. So you figure maybe the end of August.
If I had to guess, yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, I've got a ditch about this big in front of there that I have to put the garbage out into the street because the garbage truck can't even come up to the boulevard. Because they dug that out last year and it's washed out, so it's.
Well, it's gonna be an inconvenience for everybody for a while.
It's like 1.5 feet deep now, so.
Yep.
Says nobody come driving in the dark and not look because otherwise they're gonna knock out the front end of the car. Okay.
Any other questions for Donovan? I guess I got one, Donovan.
Okay.
You found any lead pipe yet by any chance?
We have not found any yet.
Just was hoping you'd find some. Okay,
From what I was told is maybe on Second Street.
yeah,
But yeah, we're monitoring and we got to record all the materials that, because in 2 years, the city has to know from the main all the way to the house, the material, the sizes, like, seems pretty extravagant.
I'll
But
keep your eyes open.
yeah, they're looking for them. So,
Okay. All right,
all right.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
moving on, the Montreal County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. You guys all read through that? I think we've been dealing with this for 3 months or more. So I think it's all finalized. We need a motion for me to sign the plan.
So moved.
By Dave, is there a second by Linda? Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next would be the continuing disclosure contract. Ellen, you might have to explain that.
So this used to be Doherty and Company, which is Mike Manstrom. He is the one that takes care of all our bond sales. I think most of you have met him before. I know he's been here for a council meeting. So obviously, yes, they did a name change. It must have been 1.5 years, 2 years ago, but, so obviously they just did an amendment, kind of an update to their contract, and so the city just needs to approve it. It's nothing major.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Linda, second by Chad. Discussion? Call the roll.
Jake?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
Ty?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Chad?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, District 54, the Bank of North Dakota loan. And that's just a formality too, isn't it?
Yep,
We've
this
already-
would be for the street portion of our capital improvement project. So obviously, probably, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, give or take, I'd asked the council about revising the loan agreement because I didn't, after looking at our finance and stuff, didn't figure we needed to do the full 3 million, so I did it for 1.3. And nothing even says that even, you know, that we even have to borrow that full amount either because we'll do draw requests.
So move to approve.
Motion by Chad.
Second.
Second by Linda. Any other discussion on that? Call the roll.
Jake?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
Ty?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Chad?
All right.
Motion carried. Next would be the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
I guess I'd just like to bring this up because we will at some point need to designate how we want to expend these funds. And I guess just, so I guess, like I said, that would be my recommendation, either using it towards our current capital improvement project for the street improvement.
Can we put it in a fund to use it for the next phase?
Well, we gotta use it. Is
Well,
there-
we do at some point have to actually designate where we're gonna spend these funds, because I will have to do another report next year. And yes, you do have to eventually provide all that information.
But if we,
I think you can designate, and then you have to, I have to get the date, it's either December of 2024 or December of 2025 has to be spent.
I think it's 24.
24, so you get designated for the next phase, and it has to be spent.
but then you gotta
You
do,
have to designate by a certain date, I'm not sure the date, but we can get that for next meeting.
How much was it again, Owen?
Well, it's like 400 and some thousand split.
Yep, like 420,000 total, but we actually did receive a little, it was a small amount, a little over $1,000. I think there was some cities that actually declined it. So then they split it amongst the cities that did accept it. So we did get another small amount. So it's probably gonna, you know, be a little over 420,000 plus. You figure there is interest being figured into this fund right now as well.
I just think it'd be just help with that next phase to be able to continue doing what you guys have been able to put together up to this point, not have to special as much, not have to borrow as much. And it's that seed money to encourage that next phase of this to get completed, because
So if we put it in,
I'd hate to wait.
if we put it
20
in
years.
the infrastructure fund, there's more paperwork involved then for a sewer and water project?
For considering the reporting that I have to do, I'd prefer it stays in the fund it is until we are actually going to expend it.
Okay,
I would prefer not to transfer it.
but we could spend it on that. It's just, we'll do it in one swipe. Okay. So right now it's in a fund of its own
Yes, that for tracking purposes.
in
Need
the
a
general
motion?
fund?
For,
I'm sorry?
Is it in the general fund under a? separate-
No, it actually would be
Which line is it?
fund number 012. It actually says American Rescue Plan Act.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. Okay.
need a motion to approve what she just said?
Well, I think when the time comes when, I mean, we could use it to spend on these pay apps tonight, right? If we are spending it, does that make sense?
No,
The main first thing we have to do is actually decide where we're going to
Okay.
expend it,
Okay.
like what project it's going to be designated for. And I guess like I said, just because I know next year I'll have to do another report, like I actually just had to do one in April, but obviously we hadn't decided anything yet. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it's 2024, we have to actually have expended these funds.
Okay.
I mean, if you guys want to wait a little longer, maybe think about it, but I just, sooner than later, I would like to eventually get this designated and just for my reporting.
I think Dave's right. Make a motion to designate it to something not the infrastructure fund, because that can be dipped into at will. So you can't really designate what you're spending that 400 and some thousand dollars on. It has to be a line item by itself with a designation that it only can be spent on that.
What's the length of the capital improvement paving project?
Yeah, when is our phase?
If you assigned it to that, would that carry over? I mean, to where we could use it 2 years down the road to help pay back for?
Well, it's gotta be used by 2024.
Yeah.
But when's our because we're in phase 1 right now. When was phase 2 supposed to start?
That was kind of your guys'
Right.
Before 2024?
you guys wanted to see how this one went before you.
That'd be good to have in a piggy bank.
See, and that'd be my concern is if we haven't started on that, on phase 2, I'd really, really hate to designate it towards that and then we end up not doing that within the time frame.
I agree with you.
That's a
So-
big chunk for phase 2 though, because the phase 1 was our most expensive phase, wasn't it?
2 wasn't far behind it, if I remember right.
But that would be a good chunk to start off with, because we used, what the heck was it called? The surge funds for this one. So then this would be almost like a good starting point for phase 2. It just would have to be, make sure it gets done by 2024.
So Lynn, question, what we promised the swimming pool, have you paid them that yet?
No, so
Why couldn't
we're,
we designate this to that? We,
I think you could, but you should give us time to just recheck and then think, I think you could actually do that, and then it would just free up the funds we were gonna give to the swimming pool. It really doesn't matter where it goes.
right, because we were gonna just take that out of the general
Still have to
fund.
pay it out.
Right, the only thing, I guess that I'd caution you, and like, I'm siding with Dave, if we put it into a fund, if we use this money and we leave the general fund as is, now that money's able to be spent. If we designate it this to the phase 2, it can't be dipped into and take 10,000 here and 50,000 there
Right,
and
yep.
divvy it out, and before you know it, it's all gone, and we have nothing to help kick off phase 2 with.
But
I think it's-
The 2 has to be done, be ready to go in 2020.
Right, and that just means that those of us here have to work a little bit harder maybe to figure out if we can get that done.
Well, let's think about it. You guys can decide next month or.
I just hate to
I
take
agree
the
with
chance of
Fritz.
losing
I think that's a great idea.
I'm sure it is for you, Jake.
I just agreed with the mayor.
Yeah.
I like the piggy bank.
Okay, so that's a consensus. You guys just want to think about and I'll add it to the agenda probably next month.
Fair.
Don't
Okay.
let us forget.
Okay. Next, we have the DOT. We've got a little bill from, on the path thing for $1,229
Motion to approve.
by Dave. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Linda. Discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Abstain.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
Motion carried.
Did we get our 50,000 from Whiting?
I have not received anything and I have had no communication from anybody.
I got a question, Donovan, up around Pine Tree where they're gonna put that path up by the trees?
Yeah.
You gonna have a retaining wall or what are you gonna do there for the slope?
The water's just gonna shed across, it'll be a gradual flow across the top of the path.
So can you have the path like this through there or?
Yeah, it's tilted a little bit so it drains towards the ditch, and all the backyards will just drain across the top of the patch, just like it is.
Okay. Okay. Moving on, we got a fireworks resolution. Approve the sale and discharge of fireworks from June 27th through July 5th,
Move to approve.
contingent upon state fire conditions. Was
Move to
that,
approve.
okay? Is there a second?
Second.
Jake?
Yeah.
second by, was it Dave?
Chad,
Chad, okay. Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach.
Aye.
Ty.
Aye.
Linda,
I guess.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
It was a
Yes.
aye, but she didn't want to say it very bad.
I guess.
Motion carried. Next would be the resolution setting the auditor bond limit. I guess the only question, they have never went higher than 2 million.
Nope, 2 million is the highest that you
Okay.
can actually go. And obviously, this is just a formality, something we have to do every year.
Yep.
Every 2 years, I actually have to do a form and send it into the state and this
Motion to
doesn't just
approve.
cover me, this covers all city officials and employees.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Jacob. All in favor, say aye.
And we gotta do roll call.
Oh, call the
Jake.
roll then.
Jake, Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, we have a gaming permit
It's for Kurt, isn't it?
for Curtis.
I
Yes,
would
it is.
Motion to approve that.
Okay,
Second.
second by somebody over there, Chad.
Chad.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The liquor license renewals.
You should have had all of them in your packet except for Rustic Bean because they were actually out of town and didn't get it to us before they left. You do have a copy of it in front of you though. So nothing has changed from last year, just need to renew these. These would be from July 1st through June 30th of next year.
I have one question.
Okay?
Is Joyce's Cafe current with their loan payments to the city?
No, they are currently not. I did actually have talked to Steve Springen. I sent them another bill. They have made $1,000 payment on it, so they still owe $4,000. And I did talk to Steve on Friday. He was gonna call and speak to them. I did receive an email this morning from Jamie stating that she would have the remaining balance paid up here within the next few weeks.
At least there's some dialogue on that.
Yep, it's in the minutes. Any other comments on any of the permits? Or license, not
Can we do them
permits?
all at once?
I think so.
They look good, Chris. Motion to approve liquor license.
Okay, is there a
Renewals.
second? Second. Second by Zach. Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Motion carried. Special event liquor license, we've got July 2nd at the park by the 5 spot.
Mr. Mayor, can I make one comment on that one? So Kim did come in. I did show her the drawing because this drawing is actually the same drawing that they used for last year. And the commercial club decided they were just gonna stay with that. The only thing Kim was concerned about is because she doesn't have like a bar set up necessarily like the leader did. So she'll be having to back her trailer in. I told her, I said, just as long as she's within that vicinity and she's in the area that is covered for the beer gardens. So I just wanted to make the council aware of that.
Okay. Yep.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we got one more by the 5 spot for July 3rd class reunion out at the Pines. We got one July 2nd, the leader for a 50-year reunion out at the Pines. And we've got one from the leader for July 9th for a wedding reception at the Pines. Is that 4?
I'd make a motion to approve all the special event liquor licenses.
Okay, motion by Linda, second.
Second.
Pick-
Second,
Me.
Chad.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
All right,
Motion carried. We have a resignation letter next. Is that in the?
We're gonna refuse this.
Yeah, we don't have
Me
to.
too.
Okay,
So Joan and I have had a discussion. She said, I mean, I know she made this effective as of the end of this month. She did say that, you know, I guess also I'm gonna have to ask if you guys are to approve to advertise for a new part-time assistant, that Joan would come in and help kind of, you know, show the new one. As I told Joan, I said I didn't really have to do that when she started because she had the experience and knowledge, which was very nice. It didn't take, you know, it took a lot off my plate and I didn't have to do any additional training with her. But she'd help in any way, you know, here probably through July if needed.
and how many hours a week?
She normally, it was never usually over 20 hours.
Okay,
So,
because we probably want that in the,
That you know of.
Probably wouldn't go over 20, I can't even really get 10 anymore with my other job, so you don't have to even worry about it, I can't even. go
so
over
I mean, I think we want to
that.
put a maximum of 20 or something in the motion.
With a stipulation that she finds a suitable replacement.
Like
That means
bowling,
Joan has to stay forever then.
like bowling where you got to find your own sub.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I really enjoyed working there and I learned a lot and I really appreciate the opportunity, but my other job has gotten so busy and I'm on so many boards. And you do know that's for Vision West also, so you need to find a Vision West person to do that.
So we have to approve the resignation and maybe throw in there, advertise for somebody else.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second? Motion dies, like, no.
second.
Second by Chad. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
I guess.
David,
Aye, you will be missed.
Chad.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks, Joan. You've been a big help. Okay, let's move on. The Employment Committee.
So we didn't meet, but we had a couple of things that came up just prior to the meeting tonight that I thought would be kind of important to cover. So the first one was at our special meeting, we approved police officer pay to go from salary to hourly. And it was our understanding that that would kind of help the guys out to make what when they're going out on calls, things like that. Well, Alin did some looking for us and no, they're gonna end up losing money every other week because of the way the schedule works right now. I know part of why we had discussed it was getting Demetrius's pay up a little bit because of some call outs that he was doing. What we had kind of settled on was it would have ended up being an equivalent of around a $3,000 raise with the hourly that we increased him. It also came up through the chief today that Dylan is due for his 6 month, is that not? So I don't know how the council, right now, the way it sits from our special meeting, we have already voted for them to go to salary. But upon looking into that deeper, that's going to affect their pay, which is not what our intent was at all. I just personally, I think that the way to kind of get it worked out would be to go back to salary, but to give those two officers their pay bumps that they're due right now anyway. So that's my opinion on it. I don't know. And we didn't get a chance to meet or talk about it other than just a quick, hey, we're going to talk about this at council tonight. So
So just to add some clarity to it after we got the chief's packet tonight, I quick did some figuring on here. And when we figured the hourly rate that you supplied Alin with, that we see in the budget or what have you, we used 2,080 hours on that and figured that that's where it was. So why there's a reduction, why they would see that reduction in pay on a monthly basis is, they average about 34 hours probably about 32 hours a week from Sunday to Saturday. So they're not seeing 40-hour work weeks. And at the end of the month, that 2,080 breaks out to be 160 hours per month. And our guys are seeing on average about 142 hours a month. So they're 18 hours shy of that 160 mark of the 2,080 hours per year of regular time. So there are some options in there. There are probably some opportunities to get the hours up. Have to look to Chris for some guidance or some advice on that. To just go take their hourly rate of what we see on our budget and plug it in against their time card. Well, Lynn's exactly right. They're gonna take a cut in pay, and that was never the intention. The intention was to allow for that overtime to be recognized in pay. Now, with that said, I don't think that we base their pay weekly, monthly, annually on overtime, because we all know that overtime is not a guarantee. You can go, I'm guessing your guys can go several weeks without having to come out and help on overtime.
Yeah, they can go on a weekend when they're on call. They could get called out and be out for the next 8 hours till their shift starts, or they could get no calls. So there's no guarantee on Saturday and Sunday what their calls would be. So
with that said, I mean, I'm still a proponent of an hourly rate. We just need to figure out a way to be able to get these guys to that hourly rate. And there is one way that we can do it. You can pay them their normal, like they are, because they do keep a time card. And at the end of the month, you figure their overtime, and their mid-month paycheck would look exactly like what they're seeing now. The only difference was it would look like a mid-month advance, if you will. And then all the overtime could be figured at the end, with the caveat that we still need to look for 40 hours a week for these guys so that they're truly full-time according to the hours that we put out to the public of what their hourly rate is and how many hours they work in a year, regular time. Is that confusing?
So have you started that yet, Lynn?
No, because I had already done the first payroll. So they're up until the 15th. Things would have had to been figured out after that point.
So I'd like to see a motion to go back to what we were and turn it back to the committees to figure it out, rather than.
Because yes, something's gonna have to be figured out.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, just figuring based off their current schedule, yeah, I could already see they're actually lose money by going to hourly.
And probably we should have the employment committee, one from police and Chris, and maybe one of your deputies to get together and figure it out.
But because that was the issue that we ran into when I was talking to Jenkins about it. Well, how is it going to be figured out? So I guess if we'd have left it at salary and went each time Demetrius got called out on his days off, if he was around and got called out, then we could have kept track of that and paid him so much an hour for that.
And we could do like Public Works, where when they get called out, where there's just a flat fee, something like that to make it fair.
We don't want to sour these guys up.
Yep. But I don't want to have you switch the bookkeeping, this week,
Theoretically,
and then turn around and switch
it
it again.
shouldn't sour up anybody because it should offer the ability to make more money. This is actually an increase in wages
If they're getting the hours
based on a
in.
40-hour work week.
And the other aspect is once we hire, get that fifth officer besides the chief, then you're under that 28 days, 171 hours. And then something can be altered there, whether you go to 410s or, have somebody coming out and maybe be 3 of them out during a time period, so they get their minimum of 160 hours in. So,
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that either.
Yeah.
But I just think that
Okay,
we're doing them a disservice by not paying them.
so did you
Overtime.
make a motion, Dave, to go back to the salary
so we-
for now?
Actually, I
Okay,
think what you have to do, and I'm sorry to interrupt, you're gonna have to reconsider your motion on June, the proper way, you're gonna have to reconsider your motion on June 7th, and then you're gonna have to rescind your motion on June 7th. And that'll just take care of it, just going back to where it was. The proper way to do it is you have to reconsider yours.
And I apologize, I wasn't here for that meeting, so.
I think I was the one who made the motion, but let me look. I know, and it's on my phone.
so we need a motion to reconsider.
The one that made the motion needs to
I think
make
it
the
was
motion to
Jake.
reconsider his motion.
I think it was Jake, and then I believe I
That is a
seconded it.
lot of power. No, I'd make the motion to reconsider the motion that was made on June 7th. I think Linda was the one who seconded it.
Yep.
Yep, okay. You want to second the reconsider thing?
I
Okay.
Yeah, already
Okay, all in
did.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So now we'd need a motion to rescind, right?
I would motion to rescind.
Okay,
I'll second that.
second by Linda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we should be good on that, I think.
I just want to make sure that it is on the record that Demetrius and Dylan will be the
Discuss.
$3,000 increase per month.
Okay, so the original motion was to move him up to $31 for
31.
Demetrius. And then so we'll have to you didn't do one for Dylan, so
We
we'll
could-
have to do a motion.
We could do that right now tonight,
Yeah,
though.
it's
For
move
Demetrius.
to approve Dylan's 6-month increase.
Okay,
And Demetrius
We're doing
as
that.
well.
But Demetrius is done. We did that at special.
We just rescinded it.
Yeah, it was one motion.
Oh, that was.
Yeah.
It was one motion at the special meeting.
But we figured it at right around 3,000 anyway. That's what the normal would be for Dylan, so we could do that tonight. I mean, and then talk about the salaries with the officers with those two committees.
so his 6 months are,
Chief, is it like,
July 1st.
First, good job.
yeah, so. I
Chris,
mean,
you
he's-
want to, we'll do the police report and then you can put that in your report
We
maybe?
need to have them both in that motion?
Oh, you can do 2 motions.
No, we can do them. Anything else on the employment committee, Jacob?
No, that was it.
Okay, we'll move into the.
I just
police.
had a quick question on that though, like, so is the employment committee gonna go back and look? Cause I didn't realize that we're pulling 40 hours every week and it just seems strange to me.
Well, I think that's all part of this next discussion that we have to have with
Right.
Chris and Dave's, the police committee and the employment committee.
Okay,
So you're looking at doing Dylan now, I guess I had him on here that is probation, so I guess was the first thing on mine for a $3,000 bump, so.
okay.
I would motion to give him his $3,000 bump.
Okay, motion by Jacob. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
I,
David,
Aye.
Chad.
All right,
Motion carried.
And I've got picked up the vehicle, have it down, getting a light bar and radio in it, and computer stand and stuff, because I don't know how long could be 2 months, 3 months to get a cage and different other items for it, so getting that set up so he can utilize it. I guess I visited with him and he's comfortable and hold prisoners up front in the vehicle till we can get the cage anyway for it. And and have it lined up to get detailed. As soon as she gets the badges, they'll have the detailing on it, so you know it's Stanley Police. So, like I said, it might be, if it takes a week or two, I think he told me next week he should have the radio and lights in it, so we can at least utilize it for him now, so.
Yeah.
Until we get that on, so. And
Chris, is that cage something that we could have fabricated,
uh,
or is it up to certain specs?
I guess it has the plexiglass and different other things in it to, I can check with Corey. I don't know. They've had some Fords, whether they have a cage and whether that'll fit in there. And we could get that part going now. I guess I worked for about 10 years hauling people in the front seat, because where I worked for one county, we furnished our personal vehicle for patrols, so, and got paid mileage, so, and didn't have any issues doing that, so. But I'll do some checking with the sheriff and see if I can find something, or if, you know, depending on, you know, with a hump in the back or whatever's back there, what we can get something going sooner, so.
Good.
And I guess the last thing I would have would be that I had Dylan checking on, you know, seeing if there was any grants available as far as a drone for the department. And he wasn't able to find any, so they have a model that they're coming out with a newer model, so they gave us a price of $69,47.99 for one. Company with their brand was over 10 grand for one, so we can maybe check with some of the oil companies if they'd be interested in helping us get one. And it would be something that also, you know, with how things have been going with the sheriff's office, that, you know, if they needed it, so far Dylan is a certified operator of a drone, so, or they could utilize it, or if their people get trained on it, that, hey, we need to borrow it, that we would let them utilize it. I guess I haven't asked Corey if they wanted to kick in on it or not yet.
So what would you use it for?
Well, you have certain things where before you go in someplace on a search warrant, you can fly over and see what's going on. You have somebody that takes off running away from you, that you chase in the vehicle and they're out in the field someplace, you can find where they're sitting out in the field and either send somebody out there or wait for them to come up out of the area, you know. I don't know, I think the fire department has one, or don't they? So, yeah, so it would just be some of those things, or if somebody, you know, wandered away from someplace and we're looking for them, that would be another tool. Or because years ago we had a gal run away and was hiding. We had a plane flying us, so it's like go, and we couldn't see them. We ended up getting a search group going down and then found them, so.
Okay. Anything
So
else?
that would be everything. I'd like to thank the mayor.
Questions?
Mayor and council for my time here, so.
Well, thank you.
I do have something to add, I guess. How many applicants have we received to date?
So far, I've had one on the internet and one handed in to me, so.
Okay. Personally, I'm a little nervous about getting a new chief, and I believe the rest of the police committee as well are kind of, you know, searching for ways to do interviews and so forth. So I did call Sheriff Bristol, see if we could get some questions that, I mean, I've never been a police officer, so I was trying to get some ideas of what to ask. And he kind of put forward to me something that he did for Newtown, and that was an interview committee. So made some phone calls, and we've actually got a BCI agent that is willing to be on the interview committee. And Wade Inget, which, I mean, he deals with the police department as well. With a deadline of, I believe we've got this Friday.
Yep.
I would like to ask for a little more time so we could maybe get some more applicants. So I guess I'm just wondering what the council feels about this.
I think it's prudent to push that timeline out. I don't know what that correct date is, but my feeling is this is probably one of the most important positions on the city, and it's not something that we rush into. If it takes a month, it takes a month. If it takes 6 weeks, it takes 6 weeks. But if we've got 2 to date, that's a pretty shallow pool to draw from. So do you pick the least of the 2 then, or the lesser of the 2, or you know what I'm saying? I mean, if 2 of them are, if the only 2 that we get are just kinda, do you just pick the best of the kinda? I don't think that's what we want. We want the best that we can get.
Well, you go look at the slick, and everybody's looking not necessarily for police chiefs, but they're looking for deputies, they're looking for, police officers, and some have had a continual opening for, the longest time, kind of like us with the 5th position, so, or for officer number 5, so I guess if we want to set up that, see how many come in by Friday, and you want to set up a date to extend it to, I can get it sent off to the slick that, it's being extended, or, I can do it after tomorrow. I could send out that it's being extended. So I guess whatever the council's wishes are, if you want to go till the 30th and see if we get more applicants, I can put it out till that date.
What do you guys think?
I would like to see this committee on, say, we interview, Chris is gonna know pretty much right off the bat if somebody's blowing smoke. But as far as getting these guys with the BCI and all them scheduled, if we have somebody come back for their second interview, I think that's when we need to have these other higher level questions and stuff asked.
Because we can get to a point where, okay, we don't like any of the applicants, that the council can appoint an interim chief until the position is filled, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are in a good spot to push this out and really do our work and find that one that we feel is the right fit.
So what's the deadline?
The 17th, 5 PM, so.
So if you made it July 17th, then ask the committee to bring a recommendation to the August meeting. We know there's gonna be some weeks where we probably won't have a designated chief. Cause it ain't probably
I
gonna
think
happen.
that's an acceptable amount of time. I mean, we're not looking for.
Is this a spot where we could ask for a designation of a interim police chief?
Well, that's actually up to the committee to come to the council and the council to approve one.
Okay.
I guess I would feel better if we extended it and tried to get, the pool a little larger, as far as bringing in the gentleman from BCI and state's attorney. Like I said, these people all work with our police department, and I think their input would be great. to lead us in the right direction as to where we're kind of looking to go. I mean, I appreciate the amount of time that Chris gave us the notice on, but I think it needs to be extended out.
Move to extend the date for the police chief of Stanley, North Dakota applications to July 15th.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ty. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David.
Third Friday.
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Motion carried. Anything else for Chris?
Well, I guess basically if the
You don't want to work,
department needs
you
some help,
don't want to work a couple more weeks to cover that period we just extended.
well, maybe not every day, but
Okay, okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, moving on, the Public
Um,
Works. whoops.
So moved.
Sorry. No,
Motion to approve
did we
police
ever
report?
do a motion for Demetrius?
Oh,
No, so we need to do, oh,
July 1st on both.
on Dylan's.
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
That was
Motion.
on your motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second on Demetrius' motion.
Okay, so were we doing 3,000 or just a $31?
3,000. Yes.
Yeah.
3,000?
Yeah, you have to do the
Okay.
3,000.
So was Linda and then Chad second?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, we got her.
need to vote.
Think we got to vote on it yet, Fritz?
Pardon?
We got to vote,
On the,
the one that they just,
Call the roll, yeah.
Yeah.
On Demetrius' motion for his increase.
oh, okay.
Jake,
aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
All right,
Now just a motion to approve the police report.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, I think we got her now. Next is the Public Works report. One of you guys on the committee gonna cover this?
So we got two quotes for security fence. This is at the compactor near the water. That's where all the old cars sit. It doesn't look the best, plus the fence is about to fall in the water because it's been undermined by the water. And we just wanted to make it look a little better so that when you're looking from the Boy Scout building across the water, at least that is two legs in the fence there that have the cars right by it or 6 foot high security fence or, so the rest of the fence would still remain chain link. So from Security Fence Inc., few options, a white vinyl, 6 foot tall, or a 6 foot tall cedar fence. And I believe all of their posts, either option, are metal and concreted into the ground. There's also a $500 removal fee that would be added on top of each option. So we're looking at $10,799.67 for the white vinyl, $10,999.81 for the cedar fence. And for Dakota Fence, I think they just gave a cedar option for $16,975.
yeah, the only difference I saw, it looks like Dakota Fence is driven steel post versus, didn't the one say it was cemented?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we want them cemented.
As long as they're steel. If we cement the wood, then we're gonna be replacing it in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the first, the committee didn't meet, so we don't really have any recommendations, but the
It
first
says
decision. was
steel
all white or-
postmaster posts.
What?
It says steel posts.
Just on the security fence one, I believe on the Dakota fence, which I guess I could assume is maybe not the option anyway, since it's
Okay.
$4,000 more. But the other thing to note is it looks like Dakota Fence did a little better job of measuring it. They're calling it 215 feet with the two sections identified, where security fence said approximately 200 feet, but I do believe they understand which section of fences we're talking about. They just didn't bother to measure it.
Are we gonna have to fix that bank, or are we gonna keep doing this as it sloughs away?
Yeah, that'd be a whole other project to scrap that bank.
Well, I think we want cedar, not vinyl, don't you?
I would agree with that.
A little nicer looking.
We would have to go back, if we wanted to go cedar and go to security fence, because it looks like it's cheaper, I would imagine they would put them directly in the ground and not concrete them for the glass, I would think, but I agree with Chad, you don't want to put wood in concrete.
And so that I did some quick math on Dakota Fence at $79.06 a foot. And on security fence, according to the 200 feet, it's at $52.50 a foot. So you could take 15, if you wanted to get it apples to apples, take 15 feet times that 52.50 to get a closer estimate to see where you're at. Obviously, it's going to be cheaper with security because the per footage price is less, but I agree with Zach. I think that security is going to come and they're going to say, oh, we had an extra 20 feet of fence in there. That we
I'm
didn't
sure they
measure
just
quite
measured
right.
it on the
Right.
Google Earth and.
Yeah.
I guess personally, I don't know if I have a preference, white or cedar.
Yeah, it's kind of a horse apiece. If you put cedar in, you got maintenance. If you put vinyl in, it's inevitably it's going to have holes in it.
I guess I've noticed the vinyl fences somewhere around town that tend to fall over quite a bit. So I'd make a motion to go with the cedar fence with security fence.
Okay, is there a
Second.
second? Second by Chad. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
All right.
Motion carried. And then we have an update on the benches and trees from Joan.
Yeah, I guess they need to do that. Do you want me up for the thing then?
Do you want this?
So I'm just supposed to give an update. Tuffy did most of it. She should probably be giving the update, but that's fine. Trees, there was 78 planted. We probably should give credit to Wayne and Delene Johnson. They planted 20 of them along the pines and along the pond. 58 were planted by Tuffy along with volunteers. And then for benches, we did get 8 donated benches. All 8 have paid their $800 per bench, which will include the bench and the engraving and everything else. I don't know if we need a motion to order the benches because the funding's all taken care of. I don't know how you guys do that on your bench stuff. So if you need a motion to proceed with the ordering, we will need a motion for that. And I want to make sure that you guys all give a big thanks to Tuffy when you see her on the street.
Absolutely.
So did the money come in and get deposited in general fund?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to spend that, I believe, because it's coming
Yep,
out.
that's
of the
fine.
general
However you
fund.
guys want to handle it. I just want to mention we do need to proceed with ordering the benches. That would be the only other thing. Yep.
Move to order the benches and pay with the donations that were deposited to the general fund.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Linda. It's the only thing, Mary, I'd like to add, when they get a bench set up, get some publicity and mention the people that actually donated to it in the paper. So call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Chad.
All right.
Anything else under Public Works?
Mr. Mayor, that'd be me. The part-time help was, Kurt had given me a call. I guess I could have said it during the employment committee stuff, but he's asking for some part-time help while they're short. There are a couple of guys that they're short right now. And the recommendation that he had asked for was to see if Chris could be hired on as like a part-time employee to help out with public works once he's done with being the chief of police for the city. So I told Kurt I would bring it up tonight.
Okay.
I guess, like on my point of view, the committee hasn't met for quite a while for Public Works, and I tried getting a meeting here beginning of the month, because I don't know how we're sitting right now as far as how are we staffed up? Are we short? Are we long? There's a lot of things the committee needs to talk about. We need to sit down and have a meeting, because I have no idea. I've called a couple of people from Public Works and said they're holding their own, but I'm like, I'd like to actually sit down with the committee and see what are the needs. How are we looking going into summer? How are we using our resources? So I think the committee still needs to get together, address the shortage right now, and just kind of figure out, because we haven't talked for quite a while.
Any other comments?
I think there's efficiencies that they can find. Things that we normally do that probably don't necessarily need to be done. I mean, there's literally acres of grass that's mowed that some of it's not even ours, I believe.
Right.
You know,
And
that's
I've,
just my opinion.
and I've talked to Kurt about that too, especially like Highway 8 out there around Pine Tree. We don't want to be mowing out there now, and that's one thing the city always just did it. It's not ours.
And I believe Westview Lane, the Johnson family still owns a large portion of ground out there that we mow. I mean, it looks nice. I'm not saying that the work that they do is doesn't make our city look better, but we also charge all of our people in town when we have to go mow their grass. Are we pushing that cost of all that other mowing onto the property owners in them areas? That's all time that we can take back and do city work with.
Well, the committee needs to get together and come up with a
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yeah, because I mean, we need, somebody designated who's still gonna report from Public Works, whether that's Curtis or somebody else in the interim, just so we don't have three separate people making phone calls, checking. I mean, there should be a chain of command. There should be a.
He's on the phone with them every day.
But should he be with, like, I don't want him to be
He's
stressed.
wired. I visited with the Lynn here, and she said they kind of have a huddle up. There's certain guys that do certain things, and they get a plan in place and they go do it. They're self-motivated and self-governed.
Yeah.
So, and then they fall back. Lynn helps a lot too, so.
I still think that the committee should be involved so we know what's going on.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, when you guys do figure out when you want a Public Works Committee meeting, can you let me know? Because I have to attend. And then if you guys want, I can always call, if you guys want Curtis on, I can call him on my cell phone. He's just not able to come up here. He wants to so bad.
Yeah. Well, that's my point. I don't want any extra stress on him right now.
But you're also not going to get him from stopping. I've talked to him like 3 or 4 times in the last last week. He calls everybody every day. He's not stopping. It's what keeps him
He
going.
calls me all the time.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you
if you
guys
guys-
get together and come up with a plan, Ty.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on Public Works? I guess we need a motion to approve that report.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Chad. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Auditor updates.
Okay, the first thing, I guess, just like to mention that obviously everybody is aware that the benefit for Curtis is this Friday, June 17th. We will be from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the South Complex. Second thing would be the retirement party for Chris Halverson, Dale Keelan, and that will be June 24th here at City Hall from 2 to 4, and we'll be serving coffee and cake. Third thing, the reorganization is June 28th. That is on a Tuesday, and it is at 7 p.m. And I guess I'd just like to state too that I have ordered plaques for obviously Jake, Chris, Dale, Fritz. But unfortunately, because of shipping and unable to get certain products, these will not be here until probably closer to the end of August. But I wanted to make everybody aware that yes, I did order them, which I've always done for, council members leaving, mayors, but just unfortunately not going to be able to get them till August at this point.
Is that 7 o'clock, that June 28th?
Yep, 7 PM.
Okay, any questions for the auditor? Jordan, are you still with us?
Yeah, I am.
You got any attorney updates?
Well, the only thing I'll tell you, I kind of mentioned earlier, I ended up contracting COVID at the beginning of the month, and I was put a dent into my ability to work and fell behind on a few things. So I apologize about not getting those letters completed and out the door. I did coordinate with Amanda shortly after last month's meeting, and it just never happened, but I'll get on top of that right away. I just have a couple comments. Council can, in the committee can do what they want, but I think internally, now that you're extending that deadline out as far as applications for police chief, I would maybe recommend considering appointing an interim police chief. I don't know if that's something the council wants to entertain, but I think it gives some structure as to just operations. I know there's not thousands or hundreds of cases at the municipal court level, but probably for district court level with Wade's office, it's probably going to be helpful to have some type of structure in place while that process is moving forward. And then the same comment I'd make about Judge Phelan's position. He did indicate that he would be willing to temporarily serve in a temporary role moving forward while there might be a replacement for the municipal judge. I don't know if anybody knows of anyone who's interested in that position. There's nobody on, obviously, the ballot. However, if the council has some individuals that they would want to consider as far as an appointment, I think that you guys should think about that and coordinate with the land. And if you need to give me a call on those matters, please do so. But we're going to have to figure out a solution, especially for the municipal judge.
Mr. Mayor, if I could real quick, there was, Jordan, I don't know how serious their campaign was, but there were last minute some cards that showed up on our bulletin board at the hardware store for somebody that was running for that position as a write-in.
So my
Okay.
question would be, if somebody
Very
gets 6 write-in votes for judge, are they elected? So we should wait and see what happens tonight.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to double check the rule on that process.
Okay. Any other questions for legal? Have you hired any more lawyers, Jordan?
We did actually conduct an interview today. The law student has graduated. He's in the process of taking the bar exam this summer. So we'll probably anticipate having him come out here. He's originally from Canada, and probably let him see the area and do an in-person interview here within the next. Well, if we can get it done sooner than later, I suppose. I think the bar exam is mid-July, so if it happens sooner than later, then we'll probably get him out here. Otherwise, it'd probably have to happen after the bar exam. That gets to be kind of a tight month in July when you're studying. But yeah, we have some interest. The interview went really well today, and I think the next step of the process is having them come out to the area and making sure that they feel comfortable. It's such a hard area to recruit. In the state of North Dakota, just due to a variety of reasons. But I'm glad we got some interest.
Okay. Okay, any other questions for Jordan? Thank you. We'll take a 10-minute break, and I think we should think about who we're going to appoint for interim police chief. And I think it would be a good idea to have somebody with that title. The police committee can have a
You guys don't get a 10-minute break.
Police chief, and he was one of the applications. I figured he would. Sheriff's Department. Jenkins and John.
What's that gonna cause for, I said, is that gonna cause any hate and discontent?
That's all.
Yeah, I guess you got,
20 years.
yeah, you got a point there. And I mean, and you understand that seniority mentality that some guys get, just because you're here for 25 years, that doesn't qualify you for that spot. I could be fine.
Yeah. He probably doesn't have to want to go. He's trained 6 years ago.
How about his organization? Is he that he willing to put together schedules? Jump in there. I agree with you.
Over here, well, it don't matter. We all.
He was putting applications.
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, and I agree. I think so.
Not like I say, that doesn't help out.
Yep.
I'd just rather not do it full time.
Yeah.
You know, if you want something. Still. 50.
Yeah, and we can figure a little more compensation.
Yeah. But, like I say, I would be something to look at too, because if I do that, that gives me more time to work with him.
Yep,
That's right. Everything else that he would need to do.
Yeah, now he's pulling his wagon.
What's this? There's this application. Police chief. Oh, I can run the key on this. Does everybody get one? I said, Dylan hasn't been on.
Yeah.
And I said, I feel you'll do a good job, so give it to me next week.
Good. That was easy.
What's his last name? Jammers.
There you go, Jammers.
She's secretary, and she's doing all this stuff.
I know.
I thought you did a good job. You graduated engineering.
Yes, it pissed me off.
Some of them is, during the week, you know, and I could have time off.
Yes.
It'll help. Wednesday, Thursday.
He served as. Oh, JT.
I mean, that's just a sign of like, should we go to that country? So Chad, somebody's working with people for the,
Yep.
they haven't had a chance to see this, but they want to see it. Probably where's the playbook? I'm on this weekend, I haven't seen it yet, and I want to sneak in and see the movie before we volunteer.
Well, you would have to talk to Nick, because when I have to go set it up when he's out of town, I have him on speakerphone and go step by step by step.
I wanted to try to go this weekend. So I heard it was happening.
What is it? Oh,
It looks really good. I'd love to see it. Maybe I'll make my brother Saturday night. Say, you run it, we're just gonna watch.
just call him. He'll go up and start it for you, I bet. Yeah, I just wouldn't don't broadcast that to nobody.
I would love to see it.
Because here's the other end of it. Once it goes past it, like on Monday, the key probably runs out so that you can't see it again.
Text us. I'd love to see it. I know my mom's actually got a post, she's feeling better. So we really put up a private screen. It's just, oh God, that would be really nice.
No Facebook.
No. Well, and the craziest thing is my brother came out before. This is your most amazing favorite. That's all. I said, you know what that's supposed to be? He goes, what do you gotta do to run a weekend? And when he comes up, I mean,
It's like Jack for it.
no, that's let me get that for you. I mean, it's insane seeing how happy he is to be able to.
Cool. No, the volunteers are, that's the reason why we still have it.
Well, I don't understand people listening. I could get 2 seconds, they would go be over and help them out. It's just, and that's one of the things that I really love. That's one thing this community visited for 4th of July, 2000. And I was just like, this is the place. So I put in an application for the school. They called. Worked out.
Yeah, you think of the hours of volunteer time in this community. I'm guessing that there's very few that rival it. Well, we lived in Dickinson for 13 years and went to a handful of benefits. One of the
Not when you want, when it's a school. Okay.
That's fine.
There were several. Right, yep.
God, I'm in trouble. I just moved to town. I've been here like 6 months.
So I think it can be easily adjusted. Easy. I wouldn't mind that.
If somebody really wanted to go to school.
Would you?
Yeah. Yes,
Easy. At the worst. I don't think that's too much to ask. Okay, friends.
Right? Right? Well, you had 258 people go through and only had 237 ballots or 200. Oh, okay.
Call the
Okay,
meeting
sounds
back to
good.
order.
I'm back in order. I'll catch you later. Yep.
We'll call the meeting back to order. Council concerns, I think I'll start with Jacob. He's got, you want to bring up what you were talking about?
The police committee just kind of real briefly talked during the recess, and the name that we would put forward for an interim chief would be Demetrius. So that would be our recommendation to the council. And I can make that a motion if you need.
Okay,
I'll second it.
second by Linda. Any discussion?
Effective on the 30th, I think is the last day for the chief. Is that correct?
And
July 1st, I would say.
and probably effective until a new chief.
Until a
is-
new chief is, yeah.
Okay. Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach.
Aye.
Ty.
Aye.
Linda.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Motion carried. Anything else, Jacob?
Just thank you to everyone in the city, everyone here. 4 years, it went quick, but I just appreciate working with every single person here, every person in the city. Enjoyed talking with community members. I'm glad nobody threw any punches at me at any time. I know sometimes I disagreed with some of you guys, but I'm glad that we could always walk away with a smile. So I appreciate my time here. So thank you.
Zach?
I don't know if I need to say a farewell speech or not, so I guess I don't really have anything.
Results aren't in yet. in the city.
I have no concerns.
Okay. Ty?
Yeah, ditto what he said, and then I have had some interest in the old dock that was at the city pond. People have inquired. And then one person wants, or Sam Friddle had inquired about it, but he wants it personally, but I think it'd be for his personal side of the lake. So what is the appetite for, I suppose we'd have to put that up on bid? Is there any reason to keep that? It's the old dock that's piled up next to the Boy Scout building. That big heap of blue scrap iron. I don't know if there's any future plans for that, or if the dock we have is sufficient at the city pond. And if we're set up good there, I think the Boy Scouts wouldn't mind getting rid of it too, because are you guys familiar with what I'm talking about?
So the dock that used to be out there,
It's
We took
wood
out-
plank and like 1-inch square steel tubing, pretty rusted, banged up. So it's just kind of a pile of metal sitting on the north
It-
side of the Boy Scout
it
building.
needs a little welding right now. And the Game and Fish donated us this one that's in there now. And I think the Boy Scouts would like to get it, it's sitting behind the building out in the grass. They'd like to get it out of there. We originally thought Clear Lake might want it for their public beach, but they really don't. But
But yeah, there's some interest. you know,
Sam's
from
the first
personal
one that mentioned he would just get it out of there. So,
But I'm assuming there's probably the process we'd have to go through. We can't just say, yeah, come take it, Sam, I suppose, because it's, taxpayer-owned pile of,
well, we're a home rule charter,
Right.
whatever. We can give stuff away.
yeah, I just want to make sure, it's done right.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
think. So, is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay,
Second.
second by Chad. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Hey,
Opposed? You want to let Sam know?
Tell him come get it
Okay.
tonight?
As long as you gotta pay Lynn $1 tomorrow
Yeah.
before you can take it.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. So that was originally the Lions Club raised the money for that, but they gave it to the city. I think just because they didn't want to keep up with the upkeep, so it's ours to give away.
It's not safe to use as it is.
No, it isn't, so. Okay, anything else, Ty?
No, that's all. I think I got the other stuff off my chest during public works, so.
Linda?
I guess I just want to thank the mayor for his years of service, and Jacob, and also to Joan for helping us out. And I wish the best for Curtis and Brady. Come back soon. So that's it.
Dave?
I don't have anything except, happy trails to Joan and Jake and to you. It's been nice working with you people. You're a good bunch of people.
Chad?
Thanks.
I'm good, I have nothing.
Okay. I guess I didn't have a goodbye speech, but I've told a lot of people we got a good city crew right now, and it makes my job a lot easier. And that includes everybody that works for the city. It's been pretty smooth. I've gotten a few calls, but nobody's swung at me or anything. It's been good. I mean, 12 years goes by pretty fast. I told Lynn before the meeting, I said, I feel a little guilty. We got a lot of projects going on that I should have stuck around to finish, but the projects never end. So there would never be an end date, and I'm not getting any younger, so it's time to go. But the council's been good to work for, and Joan too, you've filled in good, and Chris, and it's been a pleasure, and see what happens. So with that, judge's report has made its way around.
Motion to approve the judge's report.
Okay, is there a second?
Second. Go ahead.
Somebody pick one. Sure. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the last would be the bills. On the Northwest Water one, Lynn has what fund, but the Boy Scouts said they would cover that 5,235 total. So Lynn was gonna pay it and then give a bill to the trustees and they'll reimburse us, so I guess it can just come out of the general fund for time being. Any other questions on bills?
I would motion to pay the bills.
Could be your last one, Jacob.
Second.
Second by Ty. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Jake,
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
Ty?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Chad?
Motion carried. Any other business needs to come before this meeting? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
By Dave, second by Ty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys and gals.
He's always done the bills and I always adjourn.